Hi everyone, this is Elson, and this episode is brought to you by Lag Studios. In this episode, I'll cover the project reNFT and the NFT rental landscape. So my last venture was in the asset management space with the focus on real estate assets. Rental strategy and income were particularly important when it comes to assets we held. Of course, the main profits came from capital gains when you buy low and sell high, but the value of the assets was often decided by the cash flow, the cap rate, and so forth. But the cash flow was particularly important. Currently, most NFT asset holders can only profit through buying and selling, unlike the assets that we held. But you would be amazed that such a basic function like rentals isn't implemented yet. But that's what the state of industry we are in. And that's also what makes it so much more exciting because there's a lot of opportunity out there for people to build new projects. One of the projects that I've been really interested about is reNFT. It's also been gaining a lot of traction. As you can see on the screen, this is their website. Um, it says here, let your stale NFT generate revenue and rent NFTs temporarily. So that's from an owner standpoint. If I own an NFT, definitely with all that liquidity locked inside, I would hope that it could generate an additional revenue stream while I don't have to sell it. But for a user, for a renter, why would I want to rent an NFT? So I broke down a few scenarios for you guys. The first one would be overpriced JPEGs. So that's a meme that's been floating around in the space of the PFP projects. But these PFP projects sometimes are not just overpriced JPEGs, they also represent very good digital art and also social access for events. Let's say you wanted to host an exhibition. In these type of exhibitions with this big name PFP projects inside, you wouldn't have to buy all of them and spend a large amount of money, but instead you would rent them for a period of time. After the exhibition is done, you would then return that to the owners. Let's say Board Ape Yacht Club wanted to host a private club event and only owners could be invited. I don't have one of those, but if I could rent one of those, I would definitely want to do that and attend one of their private events. Another scenario would be gaming assets for in-game achievement. Last episode, we covered Step In. Definitely, I would not want to buy a sneaker for $600 to $700 when I'm not sure if I want to play this game for a long term. But if I can rent it to try it out, definitely that would be the solution to go. Or possibly I just don't have enough capital to buy a sneaker and I also want to run to earn, then I would also buy one. Another popular example in the gaming industry is Axie Infinity. They already have scholarship programs in their ecosystem that's currently being managed by a full-time manager. So you need 3 Axies to start playing the game, but a lot of the players don't have that capital or don't have good enough Axies. Those who have Axies would then lend them out by sharing their accounts with the players and then manually dividing the SLP potions that they earn between the two parties. That could all be automated if we had a rental protocol like reNFT in place. The third scenario would be the metaverse. So Decentraland, the sandbox have all been crazy. Millions of dollars for a piece of land has been happening for quite a amount of time. This is getting more and more like actual real estate in real life. So you could imagine what a rental function would do for these type of lands. Property management, Airbnb, event spaces could all be scenarios where people would want to rent out their assets. While you acquired a piece of land for a few $1,000,000, you definitely hope it's going to go up in price. So this can allow you to generate income while not giving up ownership. Another example would be domains. Right now, a lot of domains are NFTs, and these domains have a flipping market that can cause these domains to become tens of thousands of dollars. But in a Web2 scenario, you could simply just go onto a domain service provider, pay $10, $50 a month and rent domains. So with a rental function, this could also be achieved in the Web3 space. So how does reNFT work? reNFT creates a smart contract in terms of an escrow that holds the collateral given by the renter. Then the renter would receive the NFT. If he abides by the rules, returns the NFT, then he gets back the collateral. If he does not, then the collateral is given to the lender. However, in this situation, the NFT ownership right is transferred directly to the renter. even though the collateral may be higher than the market value of the NFT, which it usually is, the renter could be incentivized not to return it just because the future value or the rarity or the utility it provides really outweighs the monetary value. I don't think this is the best solution in terms of how rental should be, but it is more of a unified solution that could be applied to a lot of scenarios. Of course, reNFT thought about this, so they created another route to allow collateralless NFT rental. So NFT currently is in a block where ownership rights are tied to their usage rights. Their usage rights are usually defined by projects, but if you could split the NFT ownership rights and usage rights and just transfer the usage rights to the borrower. In that scenario, you won't be required to have a large amount of capital to put as collateral, which would then defeat a lot of the purpose of just renting an NFT. So the different type of NFT rental solutions currently on the market is rent with collateral. So on top of reNFT, there's also verifying it. This is what the reNFT portal looks like. You can see the different type of NFT assets being rented on here, the duration, there's collateral. The collateral is always higher than the market value of the NFT. They grab their NFT data from Rarible, which they already work with, or Rare Rental was the other project that we mentioned that also uses collateral rental. The second type is collateral free with game integration. reNFT already has this solution implemented. There's also another company called Trava Finance. But as you can see in Trava Finance, there's only one game with their assets in the NFT rental marketplace. So this is the problem with collateral free enabled by in-game integration. This would allow each of the games to incorporate the SDKs of these rental protocols into their front end game. That would require a lot of business development for you to create like a universal marketplace where all NFTs could be rented and traded. The third solution involves minting a wrapped NFT. The notable projects in this space is IQ Space and Double. Double is still in its early stages. This is how it works. The lender would essentially deposit their NFT into their protocol. The protocol would mint a duplicate. In this scenario, it's a dual NFT. The dual NFT maps all of its metadata from the original NFT, but also adds in a time period of when it expires. So essentially, the renter is getting a duplicate NFT with the expiration date on it. The fourth solution, and the one that I'm most interested in seeing it come to fruition, is collateral free through new standards. YGG last year announced their 2615 standard. Basically, it's EIP that they want to turn into a new ERC standard with new roles in their parameter that can be compatible with ERC 721. With these new roles, you would be able to directly rent out or NFT by keeping your ownership rights and renting out the tenant right, or what we mentioned before as the usage rights. If this standard could become a common understanding among developers, then we would be able to see more and more people use these type of standards and build products. So I think this is the most organic way for a rental function and potentially mortgage functions to be implemented in the NFT space. So to wrap it all up, we are still in a very early phase of the Web3 era. With NFTs being so hot in the creator and GameFi space, I can't wait for it to be introduced to more scenarios, especially those that bridges the real world assets and the virtual world. At that time, we would definitely need these interactive features like renting, and hopefully that would open up more functions like refinancing, mortgaging, fractionalizing projects that we're seeing right now. So reNFT, I think, have really put thought into their product and also are very active on their Discord, listening to all type of suggestions on how to improve, what functions they should add, what other projects they should work with. So in uncertain times like these, I think this is the type of startup teams we need. And as always, the advice in this video is not financial advice. If you invest in crypto, you could lose all of your investments.